So, how scary is Minecraft?
I guess it's a little scary, I don't know. Minecraft is a game known for its unique sandbox gameplay and charming, vibrant, blocky, pixely, kinda had a thing going on with the texture art but not so much now, aesthetics. But if there's one shared experience that the vast majority of players can relate to, it's having the game totally spook their pantaloons off. One of the most common points of discussion about Minecraft is how the game can unintentionally come across as unnerving. Who could forget their first time playing the game, not really knowing what to do, and then suddenly it's nighttime and everything's trying to kill you so you hunker down in a hole? Or how about going into a dark cave and hearing those ungodly noises? It certainly doesn't help that if you're unlucky enough to have a potato PC, then you have to be surrounded by this sinister fog that's engulfing everything around you. Ever since the primordial stages of Minecraft's development, there's always been a nip in the air when it comes to the game being just a little scary. I mean, you could just turn on peaceful mode, but come on, where's the fun in that? With a game as highly customizable as Minecraft, people would take it upon themselves to answer the age-old question: what if Minecraft was dark and evil and twisted? Sometimes it's new mobs to look out for. Sometimes it's a monster who stalks you from the shadows. And sometimes it's a full-blown ARG simulation that steals your IP, deletes your files, and sends a missile strike directly to your computer. So strap yourself in, turn off your lights, and hold on to your indiscreetly placed redstone torches. This is the not-so-definitive history of Minecraft horror mods. The year is 2010. Matt Smith just became the new Doctor, this boy band called One Direction is making waves, and Minecraft Alpha version 1.0.14 just dropped. This version would see the introduction of music discs, although there was only 2 of them to start off with, Cat and 13. The very next day after this update, a rip of this music disc would be uploaded to YouTube. The video was accompanied by this image of a cave. Looks totally normal, right? Well, some people would end up noticing what looked like 2 white glowing eyes leering at you from the dark. Now, it's very likely that these white dots are actually there because of an old rendering bug, but it feels like too much of a coincidence that this bug happens to look a lot like a pair of eyes. Only a day after this video was uploaded, a user on the Minecraft forums named Endorphin would get a little creative, and went on to post what would become one of the very first Minecraft creepypastas. The rest of this thread would consist of about 30% astonishment, 30% disbelief, and 40% dunking on this one guy for having a giant stick up his ass.
Why are you so fucking negative all the time?
Now, if you haven't already guessed by now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because it's widely believed that this White Eyes fella is the direct inspiration for I'm sure I don't need to explain to you who Herobrine is. Ever since that fateful post on 4chan, he's garnered a ton of mods, animations, yaoi. Once upon a time, every child under the sun was paranoid that this evil Steve was gonna invade their world, burn their house down, and steal their diamonds. So what's the best way to take advantage of this Minecraft boogeyman? By making him real, of course. The earliest known Herobrine mod was supposedly made by a user named T. Kelly, who made it as a server plugin called I Love You. Ain't that sweet? Now, considering that this is an old-ass plugin that requires an old-ass server mod for an old-ass version of the game, it's gonna be a bit fuck-aroundy to actually get this thing working, so I'm gonna let this German guy do the talking.
Hallo und herzlich willkommen zu einem Tutorial oder Let's Show oder wie es auch immer nennen würdet. Heute will ich euch zeigen, wie man Herobrine...
Supposedly when Herobrine gets summoned, he'll start messing with you in various ways, like randomly placing redstone torches, setting you on fire, and luring you into traps. One of the quirky little things that he does is place a whole set of ladders that lead right down to where a vein of diamonds are. Only once you start mining them, Herobrine will slowly fill in all the blocks and suffocate you. Gotta say, pretty impressive for its time. Because this plugin was so popular, the idea of Herobrine being summoned by an altar just sort of became part of the canon. And a lot of the plugin's ideas would be the foundation for many a Herobrine mod to come. In July 2011, a user named Burner would be inspired to make his own Herobrine mod with blackjack and hookers. This one more or less takes the I Love You plugin and gives it a few additions. It reuses the idea of using an altar made of gold and netherrack, but now there's a special Herobrine block that you need to make. Herobrine himself acts pretty similar to the previous mod, albeit a little more, let's just say, determined. Oh, Jesus Christ. Whenever he's not littering your world with random blocks and structures, he'll just start outright attacking you, either by roundhouse kicking you or jumping you with his gang of brinelings. And if you're really unlucky, you'll end up running into someone far more powerful than Herobrine.
Chuck Norris.
He also leaves a bunch of sinister messages in the chat, giving such insightful comments as, "I will get you. Notch is married. Listen to Led Zeppelin. Hi, Game Chap."
Fuck is that?
Game Chap and Birdie, that's a name I haven't heard in a while. I wonder if they're still doing anything. Oh no. Oh no.
People since then have been trying to get Nintendo to allow homosexual interaction in the game.
Very rarely has there ever been an urban legend that's had this much of a stranglehold on its source material. But while Minecraft players were fearing for their lives over Herobrine, another terrifying horror phenomenon began to rear its head, taking the internet by storm. Oh yeah, I almost forgot about the John mod. Yeah, it's pretty cool, I guess. There's not really much to say about it though. No doubt a lot of our early experiences with the horror genre came from creepypastas.
And drowned.
Whether it's reading them, watching them, playing them, gooning to them. The creepypasta trend was at its absolute peak during the early 2010s, which perfectly coincides with the official release of Minecraft. And so naturally, there would be some creepypasta themed mods that would end up being made. The most famous examples are Creepypasta Craft and SCP Craft. Here I am in this new game that came out. It's called Minecraft. Probably haven't heard of it. And there's this mod that I got. It's summons a bunch of new monsters that weren't in the game previously. Okay. We got this guy. This is the Pyro from TF2. He doesn't do much. This guy, however, he's like a piece of foreskin that like fell into like a pit of toxic waste or something, and then he like mutated and became this thing. Whoa, dude. Okay, well he's doing that. Here we got a Herobrine dog, and we got a Herobrine Blaze, and then we got Cryotic. I'm sure you guys remember Cryo. Oh my god, I just spawned a little Cryotic child. Oh my god, that's terrifying. I mean, the world doesn't need any more Cryotics in it, you know, that's for damn sure. And that's Tobuscus.
Happy 35th birthday, Toby Turner.
Okay, here we go. Jeff the Killer. There he is. Oh my god, he's Jeff the Killing him. Mothman. Mothman's not a creepypasta, he's like that's like calling the Loch Ness Monster a creepypasta. What the fuck? That's, her name's Jane, apparently. I'm Jane the Killer! That's Eyeless Jack. He's, he seems to not be the— oh my god, he set that villager on fire. What? Okay, I don't remember him doing that in the story. That's the Rake. We all know the Rake. This is Smile Dog. Yeah, he does that. Where was I up to? Seed Eater. That's this guy. Bit of a niche one, honestly, and you know, not many people know the Seed Eater. Squidward. Yeah, I hope he doesn't commit suicide or whatever. Oh no. Oh, well, that's a shame. Anyway, there's the Mothman. So my exes are accusing me of abuse, and there's been a lot of allegations. Sorry, there was a couple more from the SCP mod that I forgot to show up. Alright, well, I mean, you get the gist though. And of course, who can forget the Slenderman mod?
Little Herobrine, I'm coming in your mom.
Now, I would be showing this mod off myself, but the download link is all scuffed now, and I'm not doing all that, so here's this old Skyder's Minecraft video.
I don't know what the fuck fuck her problem
what?
is. I don't know why the fuck she hates
What
me
the
so
hell?
much. I did
What does this
so
have
much
anything to
for
do
her.
with the
I paid her
mod?
through beauty school.
What the
I
fuck are
just
you
wanted her
talking
to be
about? Creepypastas in Minecraft sounds pretty neat and all, but you want to know what's even cooler? Creepypastas about Minecraft. Besides you, not long after the inception of Herobrine, many other creepypastas would follow, such as Null and Entity 303. However, these contemporaries were a lot more niche compared to Herobrine, and so there wouldn't be any mods made of them until later on down the line. The oldest Entity 303 mod I could find dates back to 2015. It's available on this forum post made by the author. God fucking damn. This is what I like to call the Great Horror Mod Depression. Throughout the mid-2010s, for whatever reason, the well of horror mods was drying up.
How much did you want for it?
I was looking.
It's not gonna happen. It's more like a.
Oh, I really would like to get.
My best price is. That is the best I can do.
There was still the occasional mod being made every odd year, like the Gru or those eyes that you see in every mod pack. However, they're just... I don't know, they're just not really that interesting. The premise of the majority of these mods is pretty much just, what if Freddy Fazbear was in Minecraft? What if Pennywise was in Minecraft? What if Siren Head was in Minecraft? Because they were in such short supply, people in need of a horror fix had to resort to one of two methods. Loading in a scary texture pack alongside, I don't know, mutant mobs or some shit. Or playing a horror map. Horror maps were certainly a thing that people made.
Herobrine.
If you grew up watching people like Vanos Gaming, then you're probably familiar with how a horror map typically goes.
I've never been inside of a vagina before.
You're plunged inside the usual horror setting like an old mansion or a hospital. You wander through a linear path where every so often you get a loud-ass MP3 blasted in your ears. Sometimes you solve a few puzzles along the way, get jump scared a few more times, and then it's over.
I am the Dollmaker.
They're like the game equivalent of a haunted roller coaster ride. While Minecraft horror maps don't usually involve any mods, they do often utilize custom resource packs and some command block wizardry.
So scare, much wow, much Minecraft.
A lot of the charm of some of these maps in my eyes doesn't necessarily come from how scary they are, but rather what they manage to achieve within the confines of vanilla Minecraft.
Look at this giant...
As the 2010s were approaching its end, a new generation was on the horizon. Gone are the days of being too scared to go to the bathroom at night because Ben Drowned might be there. We're real men now. The only thing we're getting scared by is the Norwood Reaper. And also PS1 graphics for some reason. Speaking of the PS1... Minecraft PlayStation Edition is technically not a mod, but rather a mod pack. This demake aims to simulate what Minecraft would look and feel like if it was made during the 5th generation. Despite the 2 megabytes of RAM, this game still has all the famous mobs we all know and love, like pigs, creepers, zombies, giant zombies, Shadow Man, chicken jar. It even has a multitude of different worlds to choose from, such as realistic, unrealistic, winter, the end, the most underrated Nine Inch Nails album, and who could forget 1997-07-07. Wait, what the hell is this? After playing on a world and then going back to the menu, a bunch of new worlds will become available, all of which are named after certain dates. They all take place in this highly detailed recreation of a house, presumably belonging to whoever made it. This house appears to be lived in by an entire family, with a bedroom for the parents, another bedroom in the basement for 2 children, and then a room that's completely empty. The first 3 of these worlds are pretty much the same. The most noteworthy, however, are the ones from 1987 and 86. If we go to 86, we'll see the empty room actually used to belong to who I believe to be a 3rd child. And judging by the overwhelming amount of black this person's wearing, I think it's safe to say they were going through a bit of a phase. You'll also notice they've got a bit of an addiction to the devil's lettuce. I mean, this is the 80s after all. It's a miracle they weren't doing crack instead.
This is Flint and Steel.
1986, however, is where the real gut punch in this story lies. Unlike the rest of these worlds where the weather is nice and sunny, this one is dark and rainy. If you look inside the parents' room, the floor is littered with all sorts of nondescript substances. Whatever it is that happened, the parents don't seem to be taking it very well. If you pair that with the fact that the troubled child's room gets cleared out in the very next world, the implications here are grim. The disclaimer does kinda give it away though.
And if you do drugs, you go to hell before you die.
Now you're probably thinking, gosh, what a chilling and tragic story told through such a creative medium. I sure wonder what else this ARG has in store for us. Nah, that's pretty much it. Aside from the drug PSA and the occasional Shadow Man appearance, that's pretty much all there is in terms of horror. I know childhood nostalgia is like the hip new thing to do with horror these days, but in my eyes, the whole PS1 gimmick feels like just that. A gimmick. This mod pack is pretty decent for what it is, and I think it does a pretty good job at emulating what Minecraft on the PlayStation would look like, but most of the horror elements just feel kind of unnecessary.
Ah, bro, on God. You don't get it, bro. It's uncanny, bro. It's like a distant childhood memory. No cap, bro. It's uncanny and liminal. Liminal spaces, bruh. Backrooms. It's like the backrooms, bruh. So uncanny.
Oh yeah, that's right, the backrooms.
Mike, we're here to talk about the backrooms.
Is it the backrooms or just backrooms?
I thought it was the backrooms, but the title card of the movie just said backrooms. So.
The backrooms was all over the internet like flies on a turd. Not too dissimilar to Herobrine, the backrooms started off as an elusive 4chan post accompanied by the infamous image. There's about as many Minecraft backrooms mods as there are stars in the sky, so I'm only gonna go over some of the hits. The oldest Backrooms mod listed on CurseForge is called The Backrooms, would you believe it? This mod makes it so that there's a small chance that either using an ender pearl or suffocating in a block will bring you to a whole dimension modeled after The Office. Every now and then you'll come across a chest that has a chance to contain almond water, which is just an overpowered health potion, as well as raw almond water, which is just an overpowered poison potion. Also, sometimes the devil will use these chests to plug their music. The only things that actually spawn in this dimension are Endermen and Silverfish, and there's no actual entities in this mod. Now, if you're watching this thinking, this mod isn't quite faithful enough to my liking, well, you're in luck, buddy, because we also have the faithful backrooms. This one not only has much more intricately detailed levels, mostly thanks to the dozen furniture mods it uses, but it also has entities. And white fellas love them entities. There's 3 different entities that, despite them all looking identical, have different mechanics. First, there's chuckle. If you look at him, he'll hypnotize you and take you to purgatory. So when you're around him, you have to keep your eyes closed and try not to look at him. Then there's jail, who starts moving towards you if he gets you close. To escape him, you have to keep your gaze on him while retreating backwards. And then there's Bulan, who might look a little familiar when you first see him. Bulan will disguise itself as you and mimic your every input like that one Binding of Isaac enemy. I can't exactly speak for how faithful this mod is to the actual wiki pages because, well, I ain't reading all that. I've noticed quite a few of these mods also seem to fixate on being the definitive interpretation. You got faithful backrooms, accurate backrooms, the true backrooms. The original post was like 2 sentences long. I don't think there's a whole lot to be faithful to begin with. And if you're feeling extra brave, there's a mod pack out there which combines the backrooms with quite possibly the scariest thing to ever grace this earth. The Industrial Revolution! In 2023, Lunar Eclipse Studios would boldly attempt to reinvent the Herobrine wheel. Successfully. From the Fog is one of the most prolific Herobrine mods to date. It takes a lot of the same cues as most of the other classic Herobrine mods, but has a much more atmospheric approach. Rather than having him be all up in your grill every 15 seconds, he doesn't make himself known until several in-game days after starting the world. And even when he does spawn in, he doesn't make his presence clear to you. When you least expect it, he'll be hiding behind walls, around corners, stalking you and watching your every move. Compared to all the other Herobrine mods, this one, in my opinion, feels the most faithful to him. Even with all the extra bells and whistles that this mod comes with, all of Herobrine's mannerisms feel very much akin to the original creepypasta. I mean, really think about it for a second. Where in the original story does it ever imply that Herobrine ever, actually attacks the player? The worst he ever really did was when the main character was trying to investigate him, he would delete his forum posts because, well, can a guy get some privacy? With an entity as shrouded in ambiguity as Herobrine, you can only really assume what his intentions are. The coolest thing about this mod by far, however, is this config menu. Look at this! There's a whole bunch of different skins you can choose from, you can change how often he does all his mechanics, and if you so desire, you can even give him control. Whatever that means. Now, as cool as this mod is, Herobrine is just yesterday's jam. He's old news now. It's about time Minecraft had a new famous boogeyman. This is Minecraft's scariest horror mod ever. This is the Ball Tickler. And unlike every other Dweller mod, this one actually does something completely unexpected. What makes this mod so unique is that when he spawns in, he will idly watch you from a discrete location. Then, after a certain amount of parameters have been met, he will enter an attack phase, where he chases you and instantly kills you. This absolutely took me by surprise, and this is something I never even thought would be possible to do with a Minecraft mod ever. Be sure to like and subscribe, or else you're gonna get your balls tickled. In July 2023, Gargan would unleash the Cave Dweller into the world. The concept of the Cave Dweller was ingenious, but also fairly simple. You go into a cave, there's a rare chance he spawns and begins following you, and if he gets too close, he gets pissed off and kills you. Not only is he tough to fight, he's also tough to outrun too. He'll climb up walls and crawl through small spaces. The only effective way to escape him is to either block yourself off or just go up water. Yeah, he hasn't quite figured that one out yet. The idea of a Minecraft mob that behaves in this way was unlike anything we'd ever seen. What do you think of the Cave Dweller gadget?
I think the Cave Dweller is one of the worst things to happen to Minecraft. I hate Dweller Slap more than I hate Mad Agents.
Yeah, fair enough. The Cave Dweller was a very successful mod. Perhaps a little too successful.
Now, it's time to bring all of this together and plan out our mod. Firstly, in order to harness the potential of the cave noises,
what started off as a humble passion project made to expand on Minecraft's potential for horror would end up being an Oppenheimer-level event. The demand for mods like the Cave Dweller grew to such unprecedented levels. Is that fucking Joe Biden? It's gotten to the point now where authors now have to specify that their mod isn't a dweller. And if it was, then they would just put something like slop warning in the title, like they're outright ashamed of it. Now, it would be unfair to denounce every mod that came out during the dweller craze. There's a few mods that managed to stand out and gain a reputation of their own, for better or worse.
What the hell are you doing?
Only a few days after the Cave Dweller video dropped, M Productions would immediately get to work on a mod more or less inspired by the Cave Dweller. What sets this mod apart, however, is that rather than caves, this guy will spawn anywhere in the overworld at any given time. Every waking moment is a chance for you to stumble right into the monster's territory, and when he does start giving chase, he's pretty hard to outrun. While the idea of having a horrendous creature stalking you indiscriminately is pretty spooky, where this mod falls short, however, is how overly persistent it is. You'll just be minding your own business and then suddenly, without warning, the monster will be coming at you while you're in an inconvenient spot. Now, even though this hasn't particularly aged very well, M Productions wouldn't end up as a one-hit wonder. In fact, they would later go on to make The Knocker. A mod that's popular not just for its intricate AI and mechanics, but also because people are absolutely down bad for him. Personally, I'm more of a man from the shadows type of guy. I mean, have you seen that coat he's wearing? The Silence is a prime example on how not to make a horror mod.
Hold on a second. Gadget here. I would like to make a disclaimer that at the time of recording, the Minecraft modification known as the Silence has been delisted, and a brand spanking new version has since been announced. My deduction skills as a detective tell me this new version will quite possibly not suck ass. Also, a test version is available if you become a member of the developer's Patreon. I hate paywalls more than I hate mad agents. I think if you lock an unfinished mod behind a paywall, you most definitely deserve to get killed with hammers.
Stop right there. Inspector Gadget. It's one thing to get upset at a mod developer's questionable distribution methods, but to threaten violence and death? That's taking it way too far. I, Nightmare, as well as Osmosis Bones, do not condone the misuse of hammers, as well as other such weapons like guns, razors, knives. I apologize for this intrusion. The video shall proceed.
The Silence is a prime example on how not to make a horror mod. Right away, it hits you with this bizarre introduction screen.
What do you mean censored version? What's the uncensored version like? Does he just have like his bare dick and nuts hanging out or something?
Well, the truth is that there's not much to explain. If you don't want problems, hunker down when everything gets dark, and I don't mean at night. And if you ignore it, be prepared for unforeseen consequences. Also, be careful with water. Nothing bad will happen, but be careful. Well, the truth is that there's problems.
Supposedly, the Silence isn't like it when you get in water. Just out of curiosity though, let's see what happens if I were to just take a quick dip. Okay, I guess nothing happens.
Nothing bad will happen.
Aside from being teleported to the Benadryl zone, that's all that really happens when you're in water. There's a bunch of randomized spooky events that happen to really keep the hairs on your nuts standing up, but all of those just kind of happen regardless. That whole don't go in the water thing just ends up being such a tertiary mechanic. Sometimes the mod will just say fuck you and hit you with a random jump scare. You know, for a mod called The Silence, it sure is pretty fucking loud. And when the guy actually does show up, it's about as climactic as you'd expect. Just like everything else in this mod, it's completely random and it just kinda happens. You'll be minding your own business and then suddenly you'll be taking surprise backshots by this weird goblin man. I certainly do prefer the awkward silence during the attack phase over the older versions of the mod, where it would straight up start playing the insufferable ringing noise from Nun Massacre. I would be lying if I said this mod didn't startle me a couple of times, but after the gazillionth time the screen does that weird vignette thing, it just kind of loses its flair after a bit. And the jump scares, I mean, they're jump scares, you know? They're like the horror equivalent of telling someone a joke and then tickling them. I think I should elaborate on what the uncensored version of this mod is. From what I've heard, the uncensored version is literally the same thing, except the jump scares are replaced by gore images. As in real gore images. As if this mod wasn't already tacky enough. I don't really have any proof of this, nor have I seen any footage, and quite frankly, I think I'm good on that. The only way this mod is worth $9.50 is if there was a $7.50 Jenny sitting in it.
The fuck was that? Was that Young Lean?
Okay, so the silence is a bit of a dud. Who's next? Yeah, fuck it, you.
Big Chungus.
The anomaly was made roundabout when the Dwell Apocalypse was still underway, but the fatigue was just starting to set in, so authors were getting encouraged to start mixing it up a bit. It feels like a stretch to call this guy a dweller since he exhibits very undweller-like behavior. For the most part, the monster doesn't actually cause you any harm and just kind of aura farms the whole time.
He's right behind me, isn't he?
What's special about this mod, however, is that each time you encounter the anomaly, there's a small chance that he'll enter his next phase. He initially appears as a shadowy figure who disappears when you look at him, but over time he gets progressively more agitated. He'll start taking on different forms, scaring you in different ways. And as he reaches his latter phases, that's when he starts getting real physical with you. There's also From the Caves, which is like pretty much the same thing, except like there's this whole build up to it, and like you can fight back, and
You think I'm a fucking idiot?
yeah, it's pretty good. At this point, it's been well over a year since the Cave Dweller was born. People were so fed up with how samey all the new horror mods coming out were, that eventually Dweller was starting to get thrown around as a derogatory term, like it's some kind of slur or something. Ugh, another Dweller. More Dweller slop. Can't stand those fucking dwellers. Thankfully, as the dwellers were on their way out, a new subgenre was emerging, one that I simply like to call the idea of Minecraft, but there's supernatural activity happening, isn't exactly breaking new grounds, but it's the way in which this idea is presented that makes it really stand out. The 2020s is when Minecraft ARGs started getting real good. We got such bangers like Old Root, Don't Look at the Moon, Cave Steve, the one where he gets told not to turn left. But what if, instead of watching an ARG, you were in one? The mid-2020s would see an uprising in horror mods that aim to simulate what it's like to have your game haunted by a rogue entity. Huh? Most of the time, these mods will do sneaky little things like generating weird structures, entities that stalk you, and even causing odd behaviors with the game itself. Ooh, diamond is the strongest ore. And you might even say diamond is, very hard to break. One of the earliest mods to do this was a mod called In Your World by the same guy who made The Silence. Small world, huh? In Your World aims to create a sense of paranoia in what would otherwise be a perfectly normal Minecraft playthrough. No theatrics, no introductions. You start a new world, play it like normal, then suddenly you get this message. You find yourself in the crosshairs of something unseen. There's mysterious figures watching, unusual structures you swear you didn't make. This mod feels so ominous yet so unassuming, so sinister yet so simple. You feel as though at any moment something horrendous will eventually rear its ugly head, but it never does. All you're left with in this world is the nauseating feeling of dread and paranoia. At least that's how I assume it goes. I don't know, I played it for like an hour and then got bored. Only a month after this mod was created, another one called Ooh.jar came out. This one was made by you again. Man, you really put in the work, didn't you? This mod, as the subtext on its page tells you, puts you smack bang into some type of ARG style narrative where strange events happen. Ghostly entities will show up, leaving cryptic messages. You'll feel as though you, the player, are the protagonist of an ARG, and you have been entangled in whatever sinister narrative it beholds. Don't tap the glass, don't tap the... You again. No. With how popular this mod became, as well as how popular Minecraft ARGs in general had become, it was apparent that ARG mods were so totally in. But they wouldn't skyrocket to the popularity they have now until a certain mod came out. The Broken Script, the ARG mod, the cream of the crop, the one that put ARG mods on the frickin' map. From what I've heard at least. There's a good chance you're already familiar with this mod and you might have even brushed up on all its lore and secrets too. And after having played a fair bit of it myself, I gotta say it's good. Yeah, it's alright, like... This mod apparently takes a lot of inspiration from this one channel called Mark 101. I mean, yeah, I guess I can see some resemblance here and there. The story of the Broken Script, however, is completely different. And just like every other ARG, the story of this mod is told incrementally through little pieces of context found within the mod. The story basically goes that these two gaming clans had a Minecraft server together. Then one day this weird altar appeared inside their base, causing issues like lag and despawning mobs. No one thought much of it, however, and just assumed it was like some kind of prank. But then all sorts of incidents started happening, like the clan's Discord server getting mysteriously deleted, members of the clan were getting murked by these horrific creatures one by one. There was this one guy who went insane because he kept listening to Disc 13 over and over again, which, yeah, I can't say I blame him. The situation was getting out of control and the server had to be abandoned, left waiting for any unfortunate player to find it. Now you're probably thinking, why don't they just respawn, or make a new server, or get an antivirus on their computer that's like slightly more reputable than fucking Protogent? Well, you see, the real kicker here is that these entities are supposedly multi-dimensional, and there was even one incident where a player named Revizor was killed in real life after Circuit crawled right out of his computer screen like he's Sadako frickin' Yamamura. What's really scary, however, is that after all this time, no one ever took anything at this bonus chest. Alright, so how does the actual mod go? Right off the bat, you can already tell something's off. Must be the buttons, they're like a little off-center. When starting a new world, the mod politely and graciously tells you to fuck off. Alright then. Oh, but hang on, the quit button doesn't work. You kinda got me in a corner here. Aside from the messed up menu screen, the game starts off as normal. That is, until about a minute or two in, when the game starts being not normal. This mod pretty much follows the same formula as the previous mods I mentioned does, where it starts off looking innocent enough, leads you into a false sense of security, and then when you least expect it, it like hits you with a random glitch that's supposed to catch you off guard. The first night is never usually that bad. Like none of the super spooky stuff happens until like 1 or 2 days in. Oh. Through that. That's not the only thing this mod throws at you, however, as there's a rare chance that a structure will spawn in, or even an entity, God forbid. Some of these structures are supposed to have some kind of lore implication, namely the structure that's just a one-for-one recreation of the gaming clan base. I can definitely see how this mod ended up getting the following that it did, and I do respect it for sort of being the mod that plunged these type of mods into the atmosphere, but it's definitely not perfect. If there's one pet peeve that I, and I'm sure many other people have with horror, it's the over-reliance on loud equals scary. With how well this mod builds up its atmosphere, it's such a shame that it has to resort to such cheap shots.
You motherfucker!
I'd be willing to overlook it if this was Baby's first horror mod, but with how much effort that was put into this, I find that a little hard to believe. Also, I can't really take these monster designs seriously because they just remind me of the baby glitch. What I've mentioned so far is only a portion of what this mod entails. There's so many more features and secrets that I don't think I can condense it all into this video. And the video's already outdated, god damn it. The broken script would go on to inspire several offshoots, most notably nomoon.jar. Nomoon is more or less the same as broken script. There are some things it does differently, like having an actual campaign and even a little guy who gives you hints. Ultimately, this mod is kinda just more of the same, and it's a bit too derivative for me to even bother writing a whole section on it. One of my personal favorite mods from around this era is one called Wonderland. And don't let that name fool you, cause there sure ain't nothing wonderful about these lands. This may come across as the typical ARG mod with all the creepy entities and whatnot.
Is that an Enderman over there?
But they don't actually kill you if they get you. Instead, you meet with, perhaps, a fate worse than death. In one way or another, you'll end up in this bizarre dreamlike dimension, with this barren forest area acting as somewhat of a central hub for these worlds. There's over 20 different worlds for you to explore, with each one having a distinct style to them. Most of these worlds have a labyrinthine and claustrophobic structure to them, and despite how minimalist they look, they manage to come across as not very inviting. As you're trudging through these worlds, you can't help but get that harrowing feeling that if you don't find the exit soon, something bad's gonna happen. You feel as though you're not alone in this place, and chances are, you're not. When you do eventually escape, you're not out of the woods just yet. In fact, that's only the beginning. Now even more entities will start spawning in the overworld, some of which will probably look a bit familiar to you. Even when you're at home, peacefully tending to your house, you'll need to be careful not to have an unexpected run with any of these creatures, as there's every chance you'll end up back into the dream world, and you do not want to go there unprepared. This mod reminds me a lot of Yume Nikki, oddly enough. They both revolve around you exploring these different dream worlds, all of which are interconnected by portals of sorts. Each teleport will usually have a visual cue for which world it takes you to. For example, this stony staircase will take you to this stony world. This wheat farm will take you to the wheat world. The only thing this mod's missing is the poo hair effect.
Yume Nikki Remaster 4K! It's time to go into the dream world!
My name is Retep, and I am evil.
I couldn't really figure out a good way to segue into this bit, so fuck it, I'm just gonna talk about it now. While I was researching for this video, there was a particular developer that sort of caught my interest a little bit. Not necessarily in a, oh boy, this guy's pretty good, I can't wait to see the rest of his stuff kind of way. It was more of a, I think we should keep an eye on this person to make sure he doesn't hurt anyone sort of way.
Hashtag eyes on Breen.
So Dregler is the guy who made a mod that you might have heard of. It's called Evil Hunter. Now I'm going to try and start with the positives here and say that this mod does kind of have some good ideas. There's that one event I'm sure we've all seen where it suddenly tells you that something is X amount of blocks away from you and it starts rapidly ticking down. This is legitimately such a good idea. It's a real shame though that this is kind of ruined by, and I shit you not, when this happens it starts playing like a distorted funk version of the fucking Jeopardy theme. Another thing that happens during this event is that if the monster gets you, then he takes away the hearts from your health bar. Again, very nicely done. It raises the stakes. However, this mod makes the very bold decision to hit you with a gore jump scare at some point. I know that blood and guts are a pretty common thing you'll see in horror movies and games and whatnot, but you see, the thing is, usually when they're used, they're one, not real, and two, are usually used within a reasonable context. Here, however, I mean, it's just like, bam, look at this image of a pig getting grinded. Yeah, man, are you shitting your pants yet? Hello? And that's not to mention the absolutely cringe-worthy dialogue in this mod. The sound of crunching bones became a lullaby for me. Holy shit, dude. My name is not important. Told myself it was just flesh, just death, just revenge. And I've always wanted to die violently. But the earth remembered the salt of their tears. You always thought this was a game, a sick joke, a stupid Minecraft mod about a You like cut off the text there. But we know what you really did. You slaughtered your pregnant wife. You looked your own son in the eyes and pulled the trigger. Whenever this mod isn't just trying to be edgy and gross out and whatnot, it's just kinda goofy, to be honest. This is just doing way too much, man. Like, what's really funny too is the guy who made these mods has a YouTube channel, and one of his videos is called "New Horror Mods Are Terrible." So true, my friend, so true. I would go as far as to say that right now we're currently undergoing a Minecraft horror renaissance. And the reason I say that is because in recent years, the demand for these sort of mods has been just absolutely through the roof. There's hundreds and hundreds of these mods coming out on a daily basis, and millions of people are tuning into YouTube Shorts every week to see which brand spanking new mods are doing the rounds. It's gotten to the point now where there's entire YouTube channels out there dedicated to playing these mods. People don't even do mod showcases anymore. All they do is name their videos some shit like "this mod mod made me shoot ropes, and then there's like an I show speed reaction in the thumbnail. Of course, with how popular these mods have gotten, you're bound to end up getting into content farm territory. You'll have people just straight up making up mods and like superimposing them into the video for clickbait. Like, that's just how the internet works, you know? There ain't much you can do about that. I mean, this is Minecraft we're talking about, so I guess the general audience for these mods are gonna be just as young and gullible as ever. Okay, I'm kind of just being a dick right now. I'm sure these channels aren't really hurting anyone. It definitely could be a lot worse. By the time you finished watching this video, there's probably like 5 new Dweller mods that have came out that are doing the rounds, and also like Wonderland 3 or something. I said that as a joke, but as it turns out, Wonderland clones are like the newest thing that's happening right now, so epic. If anyone's in the comments like, why didn't you talk about this one or this mod? I love this mod. It's either A, that mod didn't exist yet at the time of making this video, or B, I didn't really give enough of a shit to talk about it. Now, of course, horror is a very subjective genre, and whether or not any of these Minecraft mods are even scary is purely up to the viewer's interpretation. Whether or not it's even possible to make Minecraft scary is a whole discussion on its own. However, if there's one thing I think we can agree on, is that no matter how hard these mods try, you know, they can try and jump scare us, slow burn us, dox our IPs, show us uncensored gore. I'm sure all of us can agree that the scariest Minecraft mod of all time, objectively, is Jenny.